The Imperial Palace Station hung in orbit above Zephyria Prime like a crown jewel, a monument to 3 millennia of unchallenged power. Its shields could withstand the combined firepower of 100 warships. Its sensor arrays could detect a scout ship from 3 star systems away. Its defense fleet numbered in the thousands, each vessel crewed by the Empire's finest warriors. Admiral Kreshna had commanded the station's defenses for 40 standard years, and in all that time, nothing had ever penetrated the outer detection grid without proper authorization. The very idea was laughable. The Imperial homeworld was the most heavily defended location in known space. Which was why, when his second-in-command burst onto the command deck with terror in all 4 of his eyes, Kreshna's first instinct was annoyance rather than alarm. "Admiral!" Lieutenant Vornax gasped, his breathing apparatus working overtime. "There's something." "Compose yourself, Lieutenant," Kreshna said coolly, not bothering to look up from the daily status reports. "This is the Imperial Palace Station. Nothing warrants such hysteria." "Sir, there's a human battleship 300 kilometers off our starboard dock." The data pad clattered from Kreshna's claws. "What did you just say?" "A human battleship, sir. It's just there. Right next to us. The proximity alarms only triggered 30 seconds ago." Kreshna's legs carried him to the main tactical display faster than he'd moved in years. The holographic projection showed the station's immediate vicinity in perfect detail: supply ships, patrol craft, defensive platforms, and there, impossibly close, a massive wedge-shaped vessel that hadn't been there 5 minutes ago. "How?" The word came out as a whisper. "How is this possible?" The tactical officer's voice shook as she responded. "Sir, we're still trying to determine that. The sensor logs show nothing. No hyperspace signature, no energy buildup, no gravitational anomalies. It's as if the ship simply appeared." Kreshna stared at the vessel. It was enormous, easily twice the size of an Imperial heavy cruiser, its hull a dark gray that seemed to shift in the starlight. Unlike the ornate, flowing designs of Zephyrian architecture, this ship was all hard angles and brutal efficiency. Weapon ports lined its surface like the scales of some ancient predator. "Sound general alarm," he ordered, his voice steady despite the ice forming in his chest. "Activate all defense platforms. Bring the fleet to battle stations. And someone tell me who let a human battleship get this close." The command deck erupted into controlled chaos. Alarms wailed throughout the station. Across the system, thousands of Imperial vessels began emergency power-up sequences. Defense satellites swiveled their weapons toward the intruder. "Admiral," the communications officer called out, "we're being hailed. It's from the human ship. On screen. Now." The main display flickered, and a human face appeared. Male, middle-aged, with steel-gray hair and eyes that held the weight of command. He wore a dark uniform with minimal decoration, a stark contrast to the elaborate regalia of Imperial officers. "Admiral Kreshna," the human said in perfectly accented Zephyrian. "I am Admiral Chenwei of the Terran Defense Coalition Battleship Harbinger. Please instruct your defense platforms to stand down. We are not here for conflict." Kreshna's mandibles clicked in fury. "You dare materialize a warship within weapons range of the Imperial throne and expect us to stand down? You will surrender your vessel immediately or be destroyed." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "Admiral, with respect, if we intended harm, we would not have announced our presence. We are here to deliver a message to the Imperial Senate. The only message you'll deliver is your ship's wreckage." Kreshna turned to his weapons officer. "Lock all weapons on." "Sir," the tactical officer interrupted, her voice high with panic. "The defense platforms, they're not responding. Neither are the fleet vessels. All our weapons systems are locked out." "What?" Kreshna spun back to the display. "Impossible." Admiral Chan leaned forward slightly. "Admiral, we've temporarily disabled your targeting systems. No harm has been done, they'll reset in approximately 10 minutes. We simply need your undivided attention. This is an act of war." Krishna roared. No, Admiral. This is a demonstration. Chen's voice remained calm, almost gentle. 3 months ago, your empire issued an ultimatum to 17 independent systems in the outer reach. Surrender or face invasion. 4 of those systems had treaties with the Terran coalition. You ignored our diplomatic protests. You ignored our warnings. So now, we're speaking in a language your empire understands. Behind Chen, Krishna could see the bridge of the human ship, compact, efficient, filled with displays showing what he realized with growing horror was every defense installation in the system. Every single one. Complete tactical information that should have been impossible to obtain. How long have we been here, Admiral? Chen asked. Since you detected us, I mean? 30 seconds before the alarm, Krishna admitted, his throat dry. We've been in position for 47 minutes. The words hit like a physical blow. 47 minutes. The human battleship had been sitting 300 kilometers from the most heavily defended installation in the Empire for nearly an hour, and no one had noticed. Your sensor grids, your patrol patterns, your identification protocols, Chen continued, we've mapped all of them. The Harbinger isn't just a warship, Admiral. It's a proof of concept. In the 5 years since our first, unfortunate encounter with your empire, humanity has been busy. On the tactical display, more contacts began appearing. 6 more human vessels, all phasing into visibility around the system. They'd been there the entire time, invisible to Imperial sensors, hidden in plain sight. 7 ships, Krishna breathed. You have 7 ships in our home system. We have 17 ships in your home system, Admiral. You can only see 7. Chen let that sink in. And the Harbinger? We could have docked at your station. We could have materialized inside your throne room. We chose to announce ourselves as a courtesy. The command deck had gone silent. Every officer stared at the display, at the human admiral who had just shattered every assumption about Imperial security. What do you want? Krishna asked, and hated how defeated he sounded. The Terran coalition wishes to establish formal diplomatic relations with the Zephyrian Empire. We're requesting an audience with the Imperial Senate to negotiate a mutual non-aggression treaty. We're also requesting the immediate cessation of military operations against the outer reach systems. And if the Senate refuses? Admiral Chen's expression finally changed, hardening into something cold and dangerous. Then the next time we appear in your system, it won't be to talk. We're not interested in conquest, Admiral. We never have been. But we will not allow our allies to be invaded, and we will not allow our own sovereignty to be threatened. He gestured to something off-screen, and the tactical displays on the Imperial command deck came alive with data, ship specifications, weapon capabilities, stealth technology breakdowns. Information that would take Imperial scientists decades to analyze. We're transmitting our technical specifications as a gesture of good faith. Study them. Share them with your military strategists. Let them explain to the Senate exactly what it would mean to go to war with humanity. Chen's voice softened slightly. We've been fighting each other for our entire history, Admiral. We've developed 10,000 ways to kill, and we've turned warfare into an art form. But we've also learned that the best victories are the ones where no one has to die. The transmission began to end, but Chen added one final statement. In 30 seconds, our ships will depart. Your weapons systems will come back online. You'll be able to track our exit vectors for exactly 3 minutes before we disappear again. I suggest you use that time to think very carefully about what you've witnessed here today. The screen went dark. Krishna stood frozen, staring at the tactical display as the human vessels began to move. True to Chen's word, they vanished from sensors after 3 minutes, slipping away into whatever dimension they'd emerged from. Admiral, Lieutenant Vornax asked quietly, what do we tell the Senate? Krishna looked at the data still streaming across his displays, ship designs decades ahead of Imperial technology, stealth systems they couldn't counter, weapons they couldn't defend against. He thought about 7 ships appearing in their home system. About 17 ships, 10 of which they still couldn't see. We tell them the truth, he said finally. We tell them that the galaxy has changed. We tell them that humanity isn't the primitive species we encountered 5 years ago. And we tell them that we have two choices: negotiate with these people, or discover exactly how devastating a war with them would be. He pulled up the transmission data, already dreading the conversations to come. The Empire had ruled through strength for 3,000 years, never questioning their superiority, never imagining they might encounter something they couldn't simply overwhelm with numbers and firepower. Today, that certainty had died. A single human battleship had penetrated the most secure location in the Empire, demonstrated complete superiority in stealth and electronic warfare, and left without firing a single shot. The message was clear: humanity could strike anywhere, anytime, and the Empire would never see it coming. As Kreshna began composing his report to the Senate, he realized something that chilled him to his core. The humans hadn't come to prove they could destroy the Empire. They'd come to prove they didn't need to. And somehow, that was so much worse.